I hope you are able to hear my voice properly. I am here in the middle of the street, not far from Fabriquats, but not in Fabriquats, as you can see. Um, so I just would like to introduce Laura Llaneli, artist, Catalan Spanish artist, performer, and and sound artist. I wanted to say, and she was yesterday. There is this sound installation in the main venue of the festival since Thursday, and yesterday she offered a performance yesterday evening. So maybe she will talk about that. She's completely free for talking about her work, what she presented here in the festival, or other works. And I just would like to say that she was recently in residence at the Casa de Velázquez, this institution, French institution in Madrid, with plenty of artists of different disciplines working there. And we have this collaboration with Casa Velázquez. So we try always to invite the artists participating in that institution. And Laura, in this case, is here, and she will present. I let her talk and present her work and herself. Unfortunately, I have to leave the meeting because I'm doing plenty of things around, but it's recorded, so I'll be able to see it afterwards. And well, so nice to have you here, Laura, and you can go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uriol and Oliver, for the invitation to the festival in general and this meeting especially. So yeah, I'm gonna start and I will talk about my work in general, this thing that I have in between fine arts and music or sound art, let's say it like that. And I don't know if you want to do that, but I will be more comfortable if you have your cameras on. You are invited to do that, because I don't know if you or me, in my case, it's a little bit weird to talk just to black screens. So yeah, I prefer that. Thank you. So yeah, I recognize faces from yesterday in the concert. So the idea is that we have an hour to talk. I'm gonna talk a little bit about why I decided to do that, why I'm an artist, why I work with sound, and what's my issue about that. And feel free to talk, to interrupt me, whatever you want. I'm gonna start talking about different projects from the beginning. I started working as an artist with sound, and I'm gonna end with the installation and the project that I have at Mixtur. Okay. I think you are all musicians. Yeah. Okay. I'm half of. Okay. So it's kind of weird to talk to like musicians. What I'm like a half musician or something. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. I will send you later, or from the festival, they will send you links about everything I'm going to talk about. But this is my website. I have everything online, my project, and you can go to my Bandcamp, and I have few things there. Or maybe I have one video that it's like hidden, but I have no problem to send it to you if you want. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to start with the thing that why I decided to be an artist and why I decided to work with sound, no? Especially. So the thing is that I studied classical music in the conservatory since I was 7 years old, but I didn't finish the superior. I don't know how you say it in English. So I studied from the 7 years until 18 or 20, classical piano and saxophone, composition, harmony, and everything. But one day I decided that I couldn't be too much creative with that, no? Because I was trained to reproduce patterns of performing few things that I was not comfortable with, no? So for example, and I started thinking about where was my paper, my place as a person with my creativity, no? If I have to play to perform Bach, and there's a lot of rules that you have to follow when you interpret someone, no? And there were a few things when I was studying that were like kind of I was having troubles with, no? Let's say it like that, no? And this the rigorosity about how to sit in the piano, how you have to behave with your body. And one day I started to think on why I had to follow these rules, no? I mean, rules are changing all the time. And one thing that was like true a certain few centuries ago, now we know that it's not working anymore. And these things started to wonder me about a few things, no? And the other thing was that since I was a kid, I also did like painting and things like that. And then I realized that with other artistic things, I could be more creative than with music. And I started to think why it was that, no? And so that's the thing to explain, that I studied first the graphic design and then fine arts. And when I was in fine arts, I was very worried to understand how could I mix this musical background that I had with this fine art that I was like studying in that moment, because my creativity in fine arts was very different than the creativity that I had when I studied music. No, I could feel more free in arts. Let's say it like that. No, so there was one moment that I decided that maybe I wanted to start like with this idea of sound in the art field. No, but being a little bit away from the music and its rule. So trying to understand the sound, no? So at the beginning, I just bought a handy recorder. I just went through the city, listening everything, tried to understand the difference between listening with the recorder and without anything, what was happening with perceptions and things like that, no? And I will show now one of the first projects that I did in this moment, no, asking myself about being a piano performer with classical one, and the questions that I had in my mind. No? So one of the first projects that I did was this one called No 101, a piece from Eric Satie. And this idea was that, okay, so you know that when you have a score, the score is not something that is fixed, no? It's something that is changing every time you interpret it, no? And a person interpret it in a different way. So I was trying to ask myself about my relation with this score, no? And how could I transform this score until I'm playing the same, but in a different way that you cannot recognize this thing. So this idea was like a simple instruction that I put in the beginning of the score. That was this idea, no? That about changing the time parameter. So I follow the score and the dynamics, but the time of the piece is not the length of the notes. Time depends on the length of the sound of each note when touched, until the sound of a note or a chord is completely extinguished. I will not touch the following. So time is variable depending on the room, the listening, and the piano. So the idea is that I was following perfectly this score, but the time was depending of my listening of the note on the chord. No? When I decided that I could not listen anymore, this sound, I played the second chord or the second note. So what is happening? No, this is the first time that I did it in La Fundación Toni Tapias here in Barcelona, and I recorded. So as you can. As you can think, the length of the piece was very different in any case, no? So for example, I interpreted this piece in a collective exhibition with other artists like visual exhibition. And I started 2 hours before the opening because I wanted to see this difference between what happened if in the room were just me and 3 other people, 4 people, and what happened when the room was like full of people. No, what was the difference of the tempo that I was playing? So as the difference was that here I waste like, I don't know, 2 hours to play 2 pages, and here I played the last page in, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that, no? Because there was the room was noisier, so I couldn't hear myself, so I decided that the notes were like shorter. This was the idea. And I did a special publication of the score, and yeah, there's a video too. So I can just play a little thing. You have it here on my Bandcamp if you want to put it like a ambient background to do something. Let's see how it sounds. Sorry, I don't know if I did this. Yeah. No. So yeah, so in this moment I was practically alone, almost alone, and this is. Here you can listen to people, and also as you know, it's very different in depending on which kind of frequency you are playing. No, we lost earlier the high frequencies, and this stuff is happening. No, another idea that I wanted to try with this project was this idea of the difference between how the microphones listen and how we listen, no? Because I recorded, and then during the exhibition, that it was a couple of months or something like that, you could hear the recording of the performance, no? So it was again, so the recording of that again played in the same room, no? So the reverberance, so the reverb was like double, and other things were happening. If you want to say something, I'm going to pass to another project, but if you have questions, I think it's nice if you want to ask, and then I continue with something. No, it's okay. Okay. Then super fast, I'm going to explain that one. So at the beginning of my like questions about music and conventionalisms and these things. In that first project, I asked myself about time, and in this other one, I was asking myself about space. No, that is the other big question of music for me. No, I was asking myself about the idea of that when we go to gigs, to concerts, there's always most of them. I mean, I don't know if I can say always. The musician or the musicians are deciding how I'm gonna hear that concert, no? So you have the speakers in a place, and you have to be seated in a specific place, no? So this project was about the idea of splitting a rock band through a building. I'm gonna put this, but without sound, just to. Just a little bit. So the idea was that they were going to play a regular gig, but instead of being together on a stage, they will be like split around a building. So the idea was that you, as a spectator, as a public, there was not a correct place to listen to the concert. The idea was that you had to be around the building, and you had to decide where was the nice place for you to listen to that concert. No, that could be in front of the bass player, could be in front of the lead singer, or where the drummer was. And the idea for me was that in the corridors or in the places in between, you could at least combine 2 or 3 instruments, but not the whole thing, no, not the whole group. So yeah, was this idea of let the spectator decide its way of listening. So again, you could see this video in my website. In this case, they were listening each other. There was a sound technician like doing the whole thing, and then I did a residency in Croatia, in Rijeka, where I was trying the same thing, but in different buildings with 3 different rock bands or things because I thought that it was very nice as a research project, not just to investigate the sound of a building in relation with a musician, with a group of musicians. What else? Are you okay? Okay. If I'm being too bored, you just tell me. Okay, this is another project that I did when I still was like wondering myself a lot about like classical music that I had in my head, like the conservatory put in my head. And this is a project called the Cuadro, that is natural sign in English, I guess. Yeah, this one. So, I mean, I don't know what you are gonna think as composers about this my conclusion about this project, but I just say it. So I was thinking about this idea of the names that we put on signs. So the cuadro as natural sign, the definition says that puts the note in its natural way or something like that, no? So becomes the note natural. So, and I was thinking this idea of what is natural. So what does it mean to be natural in this case, no? So because when you are playing a specific scale, if you put a note that had to be flat in natural, it sounds not natural in that scale. So that was my kind of reflection, no? So yeah, the idea was like, without thinking about what has to be the sound at the end of these compositions, I decided to change different pop songs, like very recognizable ones that started with nice piano. Just do this thing all the time. Just play everything with the white notes of the piano without any flats, or I don't know in English how it's called, bemol. Well, you know what I mean. So that's what the idea. So try to force the pop chords and the pop ways that songs are done to be to prove until where they are recognizable or not. So the idea was that you had this was the exhibition. I did this with 20 different songs, like I don't know, Imagine until Radiohead, Alicia Keys, like super pop things like that, no? So the idea was that sometimes you just had I just had to change one note, and sometimes I had to change a lot of notes, no? And what was this difference? And this idea is that you could see here the scores that I modified, and it was kind of a game, no? This thing that people enter in this square, that I thought that it was this natural sign. So my idea was that everything that is out from this square had its alterations, but when a composition, when a score it's going inside this square, it's just natural notes, no? So the alterations are like away from that. And people could recognize or not the song. So, but the idea was more conceptual than thinking how would be the end of these compositions. No? What else? Yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about take 5. Yeah, and then in a moment I started thinking about language in relation to music, that it's now more in the place that I am now. And yeah, take 5 was a project that I did in a residency that I had in France. And I started to think about the idea of the French hip hop and the musicality of the words, no, the spoken word, and the musicality of the language. And here the idea was to transform what I did, to transform a score into language. So I create my own methodology. So it was, I took a take 5 song, which is a song from David's Brubeck Quartet. And the idea was that in the drum score, you get, I mean, so there was that sign saying that you have to play the kick. So I collaborate with 2 MC singers from France, and they said kick, caisse claire, drum bass. I'm gonna put it you now. The final composition. So the idea was to transform this drum score into a language score where the people is saying the parts of the kit, of the drum kit. So what was the idea? That I was not keeping the length of the notes again. So the length of the note was depending on how the time and of the word that I was saying, or they were saying, no? I'm gonna put you this thing. And then I recorded, and then I did the composition digitally.
Charles, caisse claire, caisse claire, caisse claire, caisse claire, caisse claire, ride, caisse claire, ride, Charles, ride, caisse claire, ride, caisse claire, grosse caisse, Charles, caisse claire, ride, caisse claire, caisse claire, caisse claire. Claire, grosse caisse. Caisse claire. Ride. Caisse claire. Ride. Caisse claire. Ride. Caisse claire. Caisse claire. Grosse caisse. Ride. Caisse claire. Caisse claire. Grosse caisse. Caisse claire. Caisse claire. Grosse caisse. Caisse claire. Grosse.
So there was the idea. When I did the composition, I mean, I asked them to record every part of the drum kit, thinking about the sound of this part, but trying not to be too literal of the sound, no? I mean, not just trying to imitate the sound of the part, but thinking about how could they say it, no? And then I in Ableton Live, I just follow the score and put the words to create that composition. No? This I have it here. For this time, I did a collaboration with graphic designers, or where they reinterpret the score, the digital score that I did, and then I did it by myself. So at the end, the exhibition was that. So for the project, I took the score, I transform it into word, and then I record this sound, the sound of these voices, and then I did another score digitally in Ableton Live. So the idea here is that I was playing with the graphic parts of Ableton to create this visual imaginary of a 2.0 score of this piece. And thinking about so what happened with this? Something that I always reproduce in workshops, just two ideas to send you. So because when I did this project, I thought about, okay, I mean, I'm doing it in French because I'm doing this residency in France, but this transformation from score into language, if I do it in another language, the final piece, it's gonna be different. So this, I don't know if I have it here. There were two audios in this exhibition. One was that you just listened, and the other one that was that another audio from drummers around the world just saying the drum kit in their languages. But I did not do a composition, I just put it because I didn't want to reproduce again the same score into another language, just to show the possibility that for the spectators that to say that, okay, you are listening it in French, but if you listen in another language, this piece is transforming into another thing. No?
Schlagzeug. 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 Bass drum. Bass drum. Bass drum.
Kick.
Snare drum.
Kick.
Snare drum.
Kick.
Snare drum.
Kick.
Bamba.
Hi-hat.
Bamba. 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 Bamba.
Tom.
Bamba.
I mean, it was not a composition, I just put it together, but it was nice for me, the idea to understand the drummers trying to reproduce the sound of their drum kit in the language, not the sonority of the language in this case. And this is a project that I do sometimes in workshop with the kids or with art students with this idea of, okay, I'm bringing you a few different scores from rock pop music. And this is the way you have to transform it into language. And then you can choose the language you want and do your own transformation. And it's very nice because it's a project that it's being like expanded a lot when I am doing it in workshops. And there was in one workshop, for example, that the students decided to do with the sound of a dog barking in different languages. No, you know that this sound is changing. So they decided to do like that, for example, and it was very, very nice. Do you have any questions? Do you want to say something? No, sure. Okay. So yeah, in that moment, I think it was in that project and another one, that you then put see or listen. I started to think about the sonority of language, no? And for a moment, I think it was in that project that I felt that I was like kind of forcing the projects to be musical projects, but in that moment I was changing and I wanted to talk about language. So I don't know, but how is your way of thinking about a project, or how you think about that? But in my case, I just do a research. I do research about a lot of information, and I start like writing, like copy pasting in a Word or a text edit. So, and in a moment, I decided that this way of doing it it was very nice as the musicality of the language, of like academic language in between of like slang language and these things, no? And in here it's where I started to perform in a way is that, okay, I'm not gonna do a piece that is trying to explain what I'm thinking. I'm gonna just explain the piece. So I'm gonna explain the concept of something that I wanna say. But this idea is like how I'm gonna do that, no? With a musical background. So for example, in this piece, I was asking myself about the conventionalism today's in 4/4 tempo, the common time, no? And I did a research about why now in pop, techno, reggaeton, the most common temps used is this 4/4, no? I wanted to know that, and I wanted to know if this was always like this or this changed in a moment. Then I realized that I changed it, no, with a perfect time that was 3/4, and then now it's 4/4, so they changed it, no? And I wanted to arrive to my own conclusions about it, no? The nice things when you are doing arts is that you don't have to arrive to a answer, no? The question, if you just expose your questions, this is valid as an art project, no? Or a sound art project in this way. So yeah, here I was doing spoken word, talking about this thing, no? I have a theory about it. I think it's, you know, you can take it for what it's worth, but everything was written in 3/4. It's kind of a poetry. I don't know if I can put it here. One moment. Just to make you understand how was this performance. We are not listening.
I mean it's, you know, you can take it for what it's worth, but it was mostly written in 3/4, and I think it just didn't log on to anybody. This is Scott Walker talking. I want to begin this song or speech with this sentence because it's like the summary of everything I'm gonna talk about. Time in music. Time in music. So listen to it. I know you are comfortable, you feel it like common time. The time signature is a notational convention used Western musical notation to specify how many beats, pulses, are to be contained in each bar and which note value is to be given one beat. I mean, it was kind of a class or a talking about this idea, but as a song, as a performance with the space that I can reproduce a few times, no? So in this moment, I was thinking more about this idea, and I'm gonna just show. I'm not sure. This one or this one? Yeah, maybe this one. Because this one, Lovelace, you can search it in my website. You can look for, and it's the idea of me live coding, digital live coding, and then talking about language as a code and computer music and language as human way of understanding each other. But I think it's better to talk about this this project that I did this year at La Fundació Joan Miró here in Barcelona,
occupational place for mental disabled people. I don't know exactly the translation of that, no? But this idea of it was that to create an art project in collaboration with these people, no? So for me, this idea was I started thinking about sound as something very physical and something very, very like touchable in a way that you don't have to be understand a lot of things to hear and have the pleasure of hearing something, no? So I'm gonna put you a video that explains a little bit the project, okay? And then if you have questions or I can explain you more about this. La veritat és que va costar... you have subtitles in English, okay? Bastant arribar a aquest títol. El que passa és que a mi em venia de gust una cosa que fos plural, per això no sonoritat, sinó sonoritats. Llavors les S's de sonoritats, primer el que fan és transformar el concepte de sonoritat en so en si mateix, no? Sonoritats. I alhora vol enfocar-se a aquesta pluralitat de la que estic parlant. A partir d'aquí, doncs, per mi era recuperar aquestes coses més primàries, com sonen els objectes de casa teva, com donar importància als sons dels objectes que t'envolten d'alguna manera. I pensar directament com podíem transformar això, que fos un projecte en el que el procés fos interessant, però que la peça final fos també interessant.
El centre ocupacional o l'entitat treballa per la qualitat de vida de les persones amb discapacitat intel·lectual i per la seva inclusió social. Llavors, un projecte com aquest realment toca directe a aquests dos objectius, perquè realment augmenta, però exponencialment, la qualitat de vida, sobretot quan és tan llarg. Portem 6 mesos treballant conjuntament i hem fet un vincle. Fa temps que treballem amb l'art, parlo de potser fa 10 o 12 anys, vam començar apostant per uns tallers amb temes de música, de dansa, de literatura, de pintura, i a partir d'aquí sempre buscàvem activitats que estiguessin al barri i a la comunitat en què ens poguessin vincular.
Ahora ya estamos grabando. ¿Cómo podemos saber si estamos grabando? Vam començar fent una passejada sonora dels entorns dels centres ocupacionals en els que ells treballen i la següent sessió va ser portar les gravadores, ja començar a treballar amb aquest material i veure com la realitat o aquests sons es transformaven sent amplificats. Vam començar a treballar després amb els pictogrames Arasaak i veient com hi podíem posar so en aquestes accions. Després vam fer la sonorització de la pel·lícula The Bank, de Chaplin, en la que ells han recreat amb objectes del seu dia a dia com podia sonar aquesta escena de la pel·lícula, amb una tècnica de cinema que es diu Foley. I l'última ha sigut l'assaig repetit d'aquesta performance sonora, doncs més ja com una composició de concert. Aquests sons primer més narratius o més descriptius i ara ja més musicals, podríem dir.
El que hem anat veient a treballar amb les arts és que l'art connecta i l'art transforma. Llavors transforma les discapacitats amb capacitats. Però és que l'art no connecta a través de la part cognitiva, sinó que és absolutament emocional, i aquí és un exemple del que ha passat, que aflora sobretot la part més emocional.
The Bank, de Chaplin, que teníem a la taula que pogués fer aquest son, amb objectes interpretant aquests sons. Hem enregistrat conjuntament de totes les accions que va... More or less is this idea, It's a collaborative project in which I started to think more about this sensitive and emotional thing about the sound instead of being too conceptual of the things that I was doing, And the result was totally amazing, the way they changed and opened their minds, and the way they were very, very sensitive and very concerned with the whole project. And it was like an amazing project that I totally recommend you. If you can just share the things that you do with other people and create these communities in which you don't know everything about what is going to happen, you more or less conduce the people to somewhere is very very amazing because sometimes in the work that we have, it's very isolated. We are always with our things thinking about how should I do this project, or how should I compose this thing. And in the moment you share it, you realize that culture is about all the things sometimes, and I think it's necessary, this kind of project. So yeah, I'm gonna just finish with Palpitar Palpar. That is the project that I have at Mixtur. Having like 5-10 minutes for you to talk about, because I wanted to know your opinions, or what you are doing, or if you wanna just talk with me about the project that you are doing, I will be happy about it. Well, Palpitar Palpar was this project that I was doing a residency in Casa de Velázquez, where Uriol said in the presentation, the introduction of me, that he did. And here are a few images. Okay, to start this project, I wanted to think about the idea of rhythms and community. So for me, the main part of this was the question of how should I be my rhythm, my singularity, my individual rhythm in relation to the community rhythms, in relation to the society. Because I don't know if this happened to you, but for me, I'm very stressed about this idea of that, like, everything is going so fast in a rhythm that sometimes my body don't want to follow this rhythm, And I was starting to think about how could be the best idea to work together with a community, respecting my own rhythm, but without being isolated. What was the perfect distance between that? And I was thinking this idea also in music. So how can we work together in a community where there's no imposed rhythm, like I was talking about the imposition of the state and the society in this rhythm. And I was thinking about noise music, for example, in which there are a lot of different sounds with different beats that they are not going at the same time, but at the end there's a specific aesthetic, there's a community of sound that is interested in this thing, without going all at the same time. This was the idea of at the beginning of the project, and I started. I did a research, and I found a conference from Roland Barthes in the 77. That is a conference, you can find it online, is a text that it's called How to Live Together. And he was talking about the idea of idiorhythm, and this was the idea of how to live in a community that is respecting my own rhythm, and how to respect the rhythm of the community at the same time. So this was the idea. And with this whole information, I created an essay, a poetry essay, that was the one that I was like singing. And the idea is that for the last years and the last projects, I didn't do anything physical with my hands in the project. Everything was digital, or everything was performance that I did it and then disappeared. I wanted to create this community of objects, that were with me in that performance. So the idea is that I'm going to create a community that it's going to palpitate with the rhythm of me in a way. So I was lucky, because at the same time my technician, that is my boyfriend, was designing these devices, that these are transducers, are contact amplifiers. So what does it mean? That if you put the amplifier here, the sound, it's not going to sound, because the sound it's not going through the air. This amplifier needs a surface to amplify the sound. So for me, having this device was the reason of that community, no? Because I didn't want to do just objects to put there, but without any reason, no? I want to create like objects and bodies that had a reason to be with me doing this performance. So at the end was, I can show you here. I don't know if I have to change the screen. Are you watching now photographs, or are you watching now other things? Yeah. So these were the sculptures, the pieces I created. I think that they are bodies. I know how can I say it? I wanted to dissolve the relation between body, human body, and object body, no? Like put it in the same place. So I created these objects with different materials and with sentences of the essay that I created, that they were going to resonate with me in this performance. And the idea is that every single object is made of a different material. So two different woods, clay, plastic, metacrilato, plastic, glass, and with different inscriptions. This one is, for example, says that we are bodies that interfere in the invisibility of feedback, no? With this idea of the importance of the body between elements, no? You know, when you are creating feedback, if you put your body in the middle, you can stop the feedback, no? And this is a power of our bodies, I think. So as you can see, every sculpture has this transducer. So this one says, for example, every cell in my body contains rhythm, no? Like my body with this community of rhythms all the time, vibrating with my voice. So the idea of the performance was to send my voice into these objects and put my body through these objects. So these objects would amplify my voice with its own singularities, because every material sounds different. So they were going to reproduce my voice in a very different way. So the concert that I did yesterday, the performance, was more an activation just of the sounds of these objects instead of doing the performance, because I wanted to try something different and something physical of the object. And because something happened with this project, that it started with a very conceptual and theoretical, in a very specific place, but now the objects are in another place, no? It happens something with the position of my body in relation with this project. At the beginning, my body was kind of in the middle, but I was fighting to dissolve this. And now the thing that I did yesterday was without my voice, and it was more putting the importance on the objects. But I'm gonna put you a part of the performance, the one that I'm speaking through the objects, that is translated in English. Okay, and this link is private, but I can send it to you if you want. So just to make you understand what was the text about and everything, okay?
¿No le extraña que la gente no forme un todo? Que no se amalgamen, que sigan separados. Cada uno va por su lado, suspicaces y trágicos, incluso cuando están juntos en los edificios o en la calle. Antes dije que quería abrazarla. ¿No me oyó? Sí, le oí. Yo me conozco a través de ti, de tu lenguaje, de tu piel.
Un lenguaje material que hacemos con nuestros propios cuerpos. Un lenguaje que transita otros cuerpos ajenos a través de las vibraciones. Vibraciones que escapan del lenguaje, se propagan, se difunden y se vuelven múltiples. La complejidad de la relación entre nosotras, entre los elementos y nosotros, es tan complejo que no tiene por qué resultar comprensible. Son individuos, cuerpos que afectan y son afectados, cuerpos frágiles que se retroalimentan. Amplifican el sonido que ellos mismos generan y o atraen de otros cuerpos, contaminándose y rítmicamente. ¿A qué distancia debo mantenerme de ellos? ¿A qué distancia debo mantenerme de vosotros? Aquí a distancia somos cuerpos e interferimos en la invisibilidad del feedback. Nuestros cuerpos interfieren la invisibilidad del feedback.
It's like 25 minutes of performance, so if you are interested, I can send you the link. So this idea was to talk about my relation with other bodies and other objects, and how my voice interfere in relation with other bodies that are amplifying my voice. No, so in every part of the performance, I'm changing the transducers into another sculpture, so my voice, the sound of my voice is changing. So this project is this video, the performance, the first performance that I did, a sound installation that was the pieces that I show you, and now it's a concert just with the pieces resonating with MIDI sounds that I'm activated with a keyboard. So yeah, I don't know what else. I think it's enough. I don't know if you want to see more things, or you want to please ask things or talk, because I was talking for 1 hour.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Lydia.
Hello.
I was very interested in the piece Sonoritats, because I am also studying psychology, and I really into the music therapy and all the stuff with people having disabilities or people with mental illness in general. And I was really interested to ask you if you did find any benefits or any changes in the behavior of the people that were involved in the project, and if you were noticing like beneficial aspects for their disability.
Yeah, a very, very nice question. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was with them like just 2 days a week, but I was working together with the psychologist, and I mean, there were a group of two people that they are every day with them. And it was very surprising, because yes, it was a change from the beginning to the end of the project, in the way some of them had difficulties with language to express feelings, for example, and some of them were very like not very collaborative with the group. And through this, because it was more, I think it was about something more sensitive than language, no? That language at the end is an instrument, is a vehicle through in which we have to express our things, no? But there are other ways.
Yeah, they told me, even the family said to the center that they were like more open, some of them more like collaborative with other people, that they were like sharing things in the place that they are, like, because this is a place where they work, um, place where they work. Yeah, and so the answer is yes, in different ways, depending on the person. But yeah, and it was a very change for me too, no? Because I didn't, at the beginning, I didn't know how to afford the situation. It was more my fear to be in front of people that at the beginning you think they are different from you, but then you realize that it's not true, that you can communicate in a very like regular way, that the way you do, and you have a very, very nice answer from that part.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a question for the same project, Sonorities. Do you have a final recorded piece for the concert?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh yes, I'm not sure. I don't have it uploaded for sure, but I can send it to you.
Yes, please.
But I have another video in which I explain more the way we work with the objects. This idea that I didn't explain it was that I was working with contact microphones, put it in different surface, again, different materials. So in which we together found around their houses or the building where they work different objects that they were related to that sound or that object, no? And we try to find the best sonority of this object and put it together in relation with other objects. It was like a kind of electroacoustic music, I guess.
Yeah, you are talking about the final projects, Palpitar Palpar, or?
No, Sonorities.
Yeah, Sonorities. Yes, yes, and yes, and if you have, and you please send us the link for the Palpar. The link, the video to continue this video, because it's very interesting. And last question for Sonorities, how did you deal musically with the people? Did you give him total freedom to to play with objects, or did you give them some guidelines? How did you deal with them musically?
I prepare like a specific workshops. So every time that I went to work with them, I had a specific thing to work for that day. So I was trying to transform their daily life into sonority life, let's say like that. So for example, at the beginning, if they every day they do a sound walk around the building. So instead of being a walk, it was a sound walk, in which they were like in pairs, one of them with eyes without seeing, no, and the other one was listening and commenting. The next day was that, okay, we are going to just think about the sound of everything that we have in the room. The other day I bring the recorders to see the difference. The other day, so every day was a specific workshop, and then I put together.
Yeah, very interesting way. Yeah, but he didn't communicate visually, like kind of visual notation or any kind of this thing. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think I didn't talk about music in that project. It was more about sound and their relation with sound and their own exploration. It was very nice every time that they every week when I saw them, they were like, the other day I was walking in the street and I heard something that I didn't hear before. It was more about that.
Yeah, it's more interesting actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, anything else, or we can finish here? I don't know.
Hi. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm very interested in these projects, and also would like that you share it, these links, maybe like with previous lessons when the organization send us the materials. I don't know now how to do this.
I think I can send it to Mixtur, and they are going to communicate with you and send you the links. Yeah, of course we can do that. And my mail is open, is in my website. Okay, if you have like any anything else that you want to ask me in any time, if I can answer, I will do it. Okay.
Okay, Laura, we don't have any more questions. Thank you very much for sharing your work with us. And thank you very much for your participation in festival. And thank you to everyone to participate in this conference.
Thank you for the thank you to the festival and for you to stay here. It was very nice.